Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So today, as you can see, I'm here in the clouds to talk about the cloud. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen. And can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, looks
Uh,
beautiful.
All right, I'm going to start my timer. I want to make sure. Okay. Get my remote going. All right. There we go. Okay. That's the full screen?
Full screen.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay. Today, our discussion is going to be on cloud computing and the security as it pertains to the cloud. So we want to start off by discussing what is the cloud? Where did it come from? The naming of the cloud. So from my understanding, the cloud has been a IT buzzword that's been going on for starting in the 2000s, similar to buzzwords such as AI, artificial intelligence, 5G, big data, these things. And when you think about the cloud, what comes to mind? For me, I think of heaven, a piece of heaven. And being a buzzword, how better can you get then? You know, heaven. It's a very positive buzzword. So it was a sales strategy, marketing. It was a genius strategy to use the cloud naming. So in my line of IT, I found ways to discuss the cloud and kind of break it down and simplify it using the cloud metaphor. So if I've told customers, you want to save that data, it's in the cloud. You save it on your computer, computer A, it goes up to the cloud, and then from the cloud, it goes down to your other devices. It sounds pretty cool, right? Like magic, it just rains down to the other devices. So that's how I've used that metaphor to explain the cloud. And I think it works. Now, the actual history of the term cloud being used to reference what the cloud really is dates back to IT diagrams and drawings like the one seen here, where they would draw a picture of a cloud, easy to draw to represent the unknown networks that they'd connect to. So these are networks that are outside of their establishments, so they're unaware of what hardware, servers, so a cloud represents that well. And then the internet has always been drawn in diagrams as the cloud because it's the biggest unknown, the internet. That's where chaos ensues in the internet, the magical cloud. Now this is what the real cloud is. The cloud is a reference of servers that are accessed over the internet, software and databases that are run on those servers. Cloud servers are located in data centers located all over the world. By using cloud computing, users, companies, they don't have to manage physical servers themselves anymore. They can run these softwares on these big servers, server farms all over the world. These clouds can be limited to a single organization, which should be a private cloud or enterprise cloud. That's where they have all these servers located in that one company in their control. And then you have the public cloud. Today, mostly we're going to be talking about the public cloud, which is what small businesses like us would be using. We use the public cloud. And one of the first public clouds to gain notoriety will be Amazon's. In 2006, they introduced the EC2, the Elastic Compute Cloud, which is now AWS. So that was very for its time, cutting edge, and still is. Amazon is still cutting edge. So essentially, the cloud does not involve real clouds. Nothing to do with it at all. Technically, you're using someone else's server. Okay, so the cloud is all about using someone else's server, someone else's IT, their firewall, their resources. And why would you do that, right? And that's what we're going to get to. Why cloud computing? Well, there are many reasons for that, as you can see, and we'll get to those in further. So I thought, while making this presentation, I was thinking, what can I compare this to? What other industry similar to this that you're going to use instead of using your own servers, you're using someone else's server? Why would you do this? Well, I think I came up with a perfect analogy here. Banking. Why would you store your money in someone else's establishment, right? There's got to be some benefits to that. Banking has been around forever. We're not storing our money in our businesses. We're storing them in a bank that's secure. And the reasons for that is going to be it's more secure, it's cost effective, the mobility. You can access on a debit card and a credit card all your funds and monies. You go anywhere in the world and that money follows you where you go. You don't have to have a big bag of money, a duffel bag running around the place. So here's what a typical office building might look like if it weren't for banks. Anyone tell me where this is? What does this look like? You guys are probably
Fort Knox.
Yes. This is Fort Knox. Now that might be an exaggeration. I don't think your offices would have to be that secure, but we definitely would need to have cameras and ID cards, and can't have millions of dollars in there and don't think you're gonna not need to spend a lot of money on security. You probably would need to have guns on site, you name it. Now, this is what a typical server room would look like pre-cloud, before the cloud. As you can see in here, there's a number of servers on your left, tons and tons of hard drives on those servers, RAID, data array for redundancy. This equates to high electric bills, a lot of cost in replacing hard drives, IT maintenance. You're gonna need a team of IT guys, a whole team of Mansa sometime to maintain that many servers. You're gonna need to have worried about power redundancy, internet redundancy, you name it. So a lot of these expenses adds up, as you can probably tell. So now we go into more on those benefits of cloud computing, okay? So as already stated, cost is a big benefit. Companies not having to buy or maintain their own computing infrastructure, no more buying lots and lots of servers, needing to decommission those servers, disposing of the hardware or software when it's out of date. This is all taken care of now by the cloud supplier. Instead of pay as you go, and instead you pay as you go for these cloud services and software as you need them, okay? Flexibility. With cloud computing, it allows your employees to be more flexible. They can access this data both in and out of the workplace on their mobile devices, laptops from home. Employees can access these files on web devices, right in the web browser. You cannot do that previously with on-premises. The next advantage, data replication. With data replication, it's a large-scale cloud storage systems use data replication to ensure high availability, that data is available at any given time with redundancies across the servers being located across the globe. So if one server, one location is down, the data is still accessible. If you have staff in other countries, you'll be able to access the data fast in those countries because of data replication. So that's a common strategy used by cloud storage providers as your data replication. And updates. As we stated before, no more updating of software. That would be a duty that the IT would need to do. Regular maintenance and updates, patches, security. This is now being done by the cloud provider. And here we have a list of some of the top cloud providers. We have Amazon AWS. Who's never heard of Amazon? Jeff Bezos. Microsoft's Azure Cloud, very big. Google's Cloud. Google is everywhere, all the smartphones. IBM Cloud, yes, IBM is still around. They're still a big player in the enterprise markets, IBM. You don't see them as much in maybe the consumer side, but the enterprise, IBM is very popular. DigitalOcean, people never heard of DigitalOcean, but they're big on the development side. So developers, apps, they'll purchase storage from DigitalOcean and host their apps to their provider. And of course, it's Oracle. Still a big player in the enterprise cloud. And here we have popular cloud services. So these are actual services provided by the cloud providers. Very popular, Microsoft Office 365. They offer a hodgepodge of services from emails to their OneDrive service for cloud storage, their apps in the cloud, Microsoft Word, Outlook, Excel. Huge. Microsoft has been doing this for many, many years, so they're a top cloud service provider. We have G Suite and Gmail. G Suite is their business paid product. We're very competing with Microsoft Office 365. So that's where enterprise class, business class emails are being hosted. You got their Google Apps, so similar to Microsoft Office, their word processor, Excel spreadsheet alternatives, and that's very popular. We have Apple's iCloud. Everyone with an iPhone knows of the Apple iCloud, very convenient. Your phone backs up data to the Apple iCloud. Your phone texting is synced up to the cloud. So multiple devices, your text messages, your pictures, photos are stored and synced to the cloud. You can have a photo, you take a photo on your phone, and that photo is immediately available on all your other Apple devices. So you got an iMac, you got a tablet. Jameer knows all about that. And we got Dropbox. Dropbox is very, very popular cloud storage. They've taken over and come out of left field with that, because you think big companies, Google and Microsoft would be leading that, but Dropbox is actually very, very big in the cloud storage. Amazon Web Services. Amazon, a big backbone of the internet. So many of your favorite apps are actually hosted on the Amazon Web Services platform. The Adobe Creative Cloud, if you're a user of Adobe products, Photoshop, Illustrator, you name them. They now offer cloud services, not only where those apps are updated through the cloud, but your actual work is stored in their cloud, can be stored in their cloud. So your drawings, your illustrations can all be stored on Adobe's cloud and accessible across your whole team online. And then QuickBooks Online. QuickBooks has gone to the cloud as well. Prior to being in the cloud, QuickBooks would be on the desktop machine. You would need to be on that local network or remoted in. Now with QuickBooks in the cloud, QuickBooks Online, on your tablet, on your phone, you can access all your QuickBooks data, your invoices. Your team can do everything from a phone or a tablet. Your accountant can log in from anywhere and access your data. Very convenient. I moved to QuickBooks Online about maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and very happy. I won't go back. So what I like to do right now is I like to start a poll. I want to get an idea of who in our execs family are using these popular services. Give me 1 minute here. I can start this poll. I guess I have to get out of full screen. Hold on. First time doing this. Okay, and go to here. Oops. Wait a minute. Should be here.
Oh,
Oh, I got to get out of. Wait a minute. Stop sharing. I got to stop sharing to do this. No. Technical difficulties. Hold on.
We're fortunate, Mansa's showing us a new feature of Zoom that we're all going to be using, or that we hope to use in the future.
Ah, there it is. Okay, it was hanging up on the top there. Okay, so polling, and I'm gonna launch this poll. Let's see how this works. So everyone should get a pop-up on their screens, and this is multiple select. You don't have to select one. You can select multiple. If you use all of these, you can select all of them. Okay, and this is just a small portion of the popular services. So
Mansa,
cool.
how about none of the above?
Oh. I didn't put an option for that. I figured everyone's using something here. I didn't think about that.
That was cool. That's a Zoom feature, Mansa, that you can create a poll?
Yes, sir. Worked with Allison to enable that and created a poll. So members can, if they want to use this for their presentations in the future, it is available to use.
Mansa and I are watching the counts come in right now. We can see the results live.
Yes, it says, how do I know when everyone's?
We'll show you the results in a minute.
Okay. It's still moving.
27 people have voted so far.
Oh yeah, 29 out of 44. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
and for us, we also use QuickBooks Online, but it wasn't an option in there.
It's at the bottom, I mean.
Oh yeah, you scroll down. It's on the very bottom. So it looks like Office 365 is in the lead, 73%.
Maybe we can use that for the upcoming election.
They cannot. Come on, America.
So I'm curious if anyone can vote twice. If you've already voted, are you able to do it again?
The thing goes away. Yeah. So
Allison.
Allison,
Those of us in Florida, we vote often.
Can you mail me one of those?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're
Chicago
already,
politics, no vote early and vote often here.
I'm gonna go and end the poll here, Allison. I think we got 30 out of 43. I think we went to a standstill, so I'm gonna end poll. All right, so our poll results. I can hit share results. Can you guys see the results?
Not yet.
No? Okay, so let me hit share and see if that shares it there.
There we go. Look at that.
Wow.
Isn't it great?
Yes.
Awesome.
So looking at our results, we've got Microsoft Office 365 in the lead there. It shows up in the red, 73%.
Well, I know.
And I'm not surprised. I'm a big fan of the 365. I thought Google G Suite would be a little higher. Apple iCloud, of course, big there, 53%. Dropbox, 60%. And QuickBooks Online, surprisingly, yeah, 43%. Okay, that's interesting. Cool.
It's because
So I'm gonna
Janice
go,
is with us.
Yeah, there you go. So do I have to, no, I don't have to go to stop share. I can just go right back to my, hit play again, right? There we go, okay. I have to close this out the screen because it's in the way. All right, 1 second, I gotta close this thing out of my window.
We can close it individually on our screens.
Yeah,
There's a button at the bottom
Yep.
that says close.
Okay, cool, there we go. All right, thanks everyone for participating in that poll. Now moving on. So here's the list of the 3 primary service models of cloud computing, okay? I don't want to get in too much in here. I'm just going to glance over this real quick. So we got the popular one that primarily everyone's using is service as a software model. Instead of users installing an application on a device, applications are hosted on these cloud servers. Users access them over the internet. So it's like renting a house. The landlord maintains the house. Tenant gets to use it if they own it. And the examples of this are the Google Apps, the Dropbox, Slack. So that's the very popular model that most people are using. And then there's the other models, platform as a service and infrastructure as a service. These are more, especially the platform as a service, where the developers are more developer friendly, where they're going and designing the apps to be hosted in the cloud. And then the infrastructure as a service, IaaS, which is the DigitalOcean we spoke about, and the OpenStack. And then there's a nice little chart here, if you can see. Can you see the chart on the right?
Yes.
Skipped it. And that gives you a good explainer too of the differences. Before, with on-premises, that's when everything was hosted at your location. And those are the differences with the other models. All right, so I want to say a bit about the cloud after COVID. So things have changed, of course. COVID has changed everything, and it's changed the cloud. In January 2020, the world began a big shift, working from home, requiring new sets of tools, primarily delivered from the cloud. So a lot of people are working more out of the cloud than even before. And as cloud services increased, so did threats targeting cloud accounts. Email is a portion. You consider email to be a cloud account. So a lot of email attacks, we're seeing a rise in things like that. And people trying to obtain access to the various cloud services, your Dropbox data, your Microsoft 365. You want to protect all that. So we're going to get into the security side of how to protect your cloud data. Give me 1 second here and get a little water. All right. So securing the cloud, your data in the cloud. So it's not that simple. Is the cloud secure? It's not a yes or no answer, because the cloud is not one place. There are multiple cloud service providers. We went over a few of those, and each of them have their own security protocols and varying levels of strict adherence to established security standards. So it's not going to be the same. And then if you're talking about cloud providers that are not part of the big top cloud providers, then these standards are even less. So it's very important to know, when you're using a cloud service, what cloud provider is hosting their service, okay? So you want to find out, are they Microsoft Azure hosted? Are they Amazon AWS? You can feel more confident when you know your product is being hosted on one of the top tier providers versus an unknown name provider. So security concerns associated with cloud computing will fall into two categories. There's security issues that are faced by the cloud provider, and then the security issues that are faced by their customer. That's you. Provider must ensure that the infrastructure is secure and that the client's data applications are protected, while users must take the measures that the provider has provided you with to enable strong passwords and authentication measures. So you want to do your side of protecting the data. The responsibility is shared between both. So let's talk a little bit about the responsibility on the cloud provider, what they're supposed to do to keep your data secure. When choosing a cloud provider, there are key factors you want to make sure that are being offered. You want to make sure that they're offering data replication and encryption. These are standards of the cloud security. They should have a disaster recovery plan. This is something that they should have on their site or somewhere in writing, a full disaster recovery plan. And typically that plan will include a checklist of supplies, equipment, data backups, location of the data backup, where's their servers located, contact information, emergency responders. So that should be in their plan. It's not uncommon to have that plan internally as well, not just the cloud provider, but you as a business can have your own data recovery plan and business continuity plan. You want to make sure that they offer defense from cyber attacks. What are they doing to prevent cyber attacks? Firewalls. Do they provide the latest technologies and standards in security? ISO 70, HIPAA, SOX, there are various, many security standards out there. And like I said, some adhere to them strictly, some do not. This information can be very tricky and difficult to weed through. You definitely want to have your IT provider research this, because it can be very darting going through and finding out this information on cloud security. And then confidentiality of the data is a guarantee. These are things you want to find out. And I want to talk a little bit, just a little quick, about the cloud security controls. Okay, there are controls in place on the CSP, that's the cloud service provider side. These are things that are kind of invisible that they do to keep your data safe. And also to make sure there's no downtime in accessing your data. Now, on these cloud data centers, there are times that hard drives fail, they go down, internet, there are catastrophes that can happen. And you won't know about this because of these controls that are in place. Preventive controls for attacks, you got deterrent controls, detective controls, and corrective controls to, after something goes wrong, the corrective controls goes into play and tries to restore the backups quickly, so you're not down and without your data for any long amount of time. So these controls all go in effect. And like I said, your IT provider can find out what corrective controls, it can be researched and by the cloud provider to find out what are they doing. And I want to go over some of the cloud security challenges. Okay, these are challenges when dealing with cloud and security. Your IT especially are ones that are going to see more of these challenges because they're coming from a world where things were on premise. They have full control and they were managing your data themselves. On the Microsoft platform, on the Linux platform, they have full access to the software and the data. In moving to cloud, your IT has limited access and control over that data. Access to cloud data and applications. Users may access cloud applications data over the internet, making access controls we spoke about before in the traditional data center no longer effective. Compliancy. The use of cloud computing services adds another dimension to regulations and compliancy, such as HIPAA and PCI compliancy. You want to make sure that if your industry requires these compliancies, that the cloud provider offers this. So that's very key to find out if you're in the medical field or retail, you want to make sure that the cloud provider has these compliancies in place. You don't want to assume they do because they all don't. And additional challenges, cloud native breaches. Now, breaches occur with on-premise devices, and they can also occur in the cloud. Now, as an IT provider, we don't have control of these cloud native breaches. This is controlled by the cloud provider themselves. So that gives a big dilemma when it comes to learning of these breaches. Like anyone else, you tend to learn about these breaches through news reports online. There was a Capital One, I believe. They had a breach not too long ago, and we're constantly learning and hearing about breaches of many of these corporations in the cloud. So what causes these breaches, you wonder? Are these just, well, primarily misconfigurations, okay? Misconfigurations meaning that the standards and settings in the cloud, you have to make sure that these admin accounts and these high privilege accounts are restricted. If you're logging in as the admin account day to day and you're regularly making changes, you should not be using a full admin account to make these changes. You should be using restricted accounts. The admin account should be limited use. There are many strict guidelines to configuring cloud that can be very complex, the settings and the security. And all it takes is one misconfigured setting to open things wide up and allow attackers and people outside of your network and company to access these data. Disaster recovery. Cybersecurity planning is needed to protect the effects of significant negative breaches. A disaster recovery plan includes policies, procedures, and tools designed to enable recovery of data and allow organizations to continue operations and business. And lastly, insider threats. Now, this one's scary. Insider threats is when there's a rogue employee working in the data center, and the rogue employee is given more access than they should have. So they find a way to gain full access to the data, and they can go out and sell this data to the highest bidder on the black market and on the dark web. So these type of insider threats have happened and do happen. Now, of course, there are many things in place to try to prevent this, but it is something that your IT hands are tied, and you do have to be concerned about. Okay, so what can we do on our side to protect it? So we already discussed what the cloud provider side, what they're doing, what the challenges are on their side. What we're going to talk about right now is what you can do. Now, one of the most important things that we can do as business owners and IT is to enable multi-factor authentication.
Can you guys hear me? I think my headset is went off.
Hey, Mansa?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, Mansa, it's David. Yeah, we need to keep moving it along a little because we're already past 8:30 at this point.
Oh, sorry about that.
No problem. I mean, it's great stuff, but yeah, please keep it moving a little.
Yes, so multi-factor authentication is vital. You want to limit the use of the admin account. I spoke about this prior. So the admin account needs to be limited. Using Enterprise Password Manager. Okay, example of this is the LastPass Manager, RoboForm. There are different password managers that are attached to your browser and store the passwords, and also they can generate strong passwords randomly. And it will look at the existing password that you have stored and let you know if the password is not strong enough. It'll recommend changing the passwords. It gives you the ability to share passwords among your team and even restrict passwords. So enterprise password managers are key to preventing, keeping strong passwords and preventing data breaches. Encrypt sensitive data. If you have the ability to encrypt sensitive data with encryption software, it's a smart idea to do so. Semantic encryption is a very popular tool that many businesses use to encrypt their data. And then restricting the availability of sensitive data. If you don't want it to be compromised, then don't put it out there. Don't put it on the cloud if there's data that's way sensitive. Keep that stored elsewhere if you're afraid that the cloud will lose that data. And then local backup of cloud data. There are all cloud providers that allow you to store this data locally and make a backup of that cloud data to your own hard drive or location of storage. If you can do so, I recommend using the QuickBooks Online. Allows you to make a local backup of your QuickBooks Online data. MFA. So we spoke about multi-factor authentication. These are the types of MFA tokens used. SMS, that's receiving a text message. So you'll get a text message. MFA is pretty much multi-factor authentication. So you want to secure. So when you're signing into a website, typically people are signing in with just one level of authentication, using a password. And so using a password, they're in there, and you don't want to have just one level of authentication. You want to have two ways so that you're verified 2 times or sometimes even 3 times. So with SMS, you log in with the using a password, and then a text message is sent to the phone that you set up, and you have to get that code and enter that code to be verified. A software token is where you'll use an app on your phone to get that unique code that it changes. And you'll be able to enter that software token as your second method of verification. There are hardware tokens as well. And then there's also something called push authentication. This is an example of a hardware token. This is an RSA Secure ID, very popular in the medical field. I'm sure some of you have seen these. That code right there that randomly changes and generates. You log in with a user and password to the site, and then you'll need to enter that code that changes. And that's the algorithm that changes, that's set up on the main primary server, and that keeps everything secure. This is a version of Google's hardware key. You can purchase this from Google Store for $25, and it gives you a hardware token key that you can connect to your computer. One uses Bluetooth, and this will give you secure login access to your Google resources and Google accounts. Here are versions of the software token mobile apps, the Google Authenticator, the Microsoft Authenticator, the LastPass Authenticator. I happen to actually use 3 of those. Why would I use 3? Well, I use the Microsoft one primarily for my 365, and I'll use the Google one for Google things. Now, you can consolidate and use just one. Authy is a very good one at doing that. This is an example of what it looks like when you get a push notification to approve MFA. It'll pop up on your phone, and you'll have to either approve or deny. Now, this is very important because if this pops up and it wasn't you or someone you're expecting, you want to make sure you deny this, because allowing this will give them access. Because they already have to have access to your password at this point. If someone got your password, now you're saying, how are people getting passwords out there? Well, primarily, a lot of passwords are stolen because people are saving passwords in their web browser. They're saving it in their Google Chrome, in their Safari, and in Firefox, and they get a virus on the machine. And with that virus, it goes in and it takes full control. It's able to extract those passwords from your saved browser. And with that, they can try to log in. But with two-factor and multi-factor, that stops them because they're going to get this wall here. They're going to get a prompt. You're going to get this prompt, and you're able to deny them access. Okay, and then you can change your password because you knew you were compromised. I want to make sure that everyone has this wonderful resource. The website here, twofactorauth.org. It's a great resource that lets you know what sites and what services offer this two-factor authentication. There are literally hundreds of services and sites, banking, everything you name it, that now offer two-factor. And there's still some that don't. The site is a great resource, lets you know which ones do and how to use it. Do I have time for a demonstration? If I don't, I'll just skip the Q&A.
Yeah, man, so we really don't have.
We're out of time.
Whatever. In fact, I think we have to go to a Q&A exactly and begin to wrap this up.
Okay. Sorry about that.
And I'm sorry I have to do that to you, buddy.
No, I'm sorry. I should have timed this.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, well, I'll get you a new timer for Christmas, nonsense.
Yeah, I had a timer before.
Man, so David Randall here. How unsafe are passwords that are stored in a web browser?
Say that again, sorry.
How unsafe are passwords that are stored in a web browser? So Google always asks me if I want to store my password. I generally deny it.
Yes, very unsafe because that's a high target, especially if you're using a web browser that's outdated, which the Internet Explorer browser, for example, people are still using that. It's very easy to just, there's very little protection. Firefox has added some new protections to try to secure their saved passwords, but it's always going to be targeted. That's the problem. The problem is that that's the number one thing that the hackers are looking for is ways to exploit the browser saved password systems. That's why a password manager is essential, because the password manager is a third-party software that's not tied to the browser, and it's encrypted, and a lot of times it offers biometric support for storing those passwords.
And how do you clear those old passwords out? Just by going to your browsing history and clear?
Yes, you can go into your browser settings like Google Chrome. You can go into the preferences in there, and then you go to there's an actual section called passwords, and you can see all those passwords you have saved and delete them out of there. Now, interesting with Google Chrome is that if you're signed into the Google Chrome browser with your Google account, it syncs up all that data to your Google Cloud. So we're talking about cloud today. So that data, when you delete it, it's available all over the cloud. So you want to make sure you want to close down that account and delete that saved password, because it's everywhere. It's not just on your computer. It's in the cloud. It's going to multiple devices. If you have more than one laptop, phone, those passwords are everywhere.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay. Well, Mansa, great stuff. I wish we had a little more time for all of that. I think it's so important to every one of us, of course, with today's security stuff. So awesome stuff there. Don't forget to leave Mansa reviews and you know, thank yous and all that type of stuff. I put the stuff back in the chat again. Closing quote. Wearing a mask inside your home is now highly recommended, not so much to stop COVID-19, but to stop eating. Everyone have a great one. And remember, we have a membership committee after this separate link.
Thank you all.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.